I think they'll be all right. I think that for some reason people instantly equate a Southern accent to a lack of intelligence, and we all know that that's
Right.
as far from the truth as possible.
Yeah. And that's, yeah, it is. It's because you have an accent doesn't make you, stupid, for sure. I just think kind of part of where you grow up too, because I grew up in such a rural part of Texas. I didn't grow up in the city because my cousins who were raised in the city didn't have an accent like I had because I just grew up in a smaller town. So usually kind of how it works.
Yeah,
I feel,
it seems obviously the more rural of an area you grow up in, the thicker the accent tends to be.
yeah, I don't know. Isn't it weird how that happens? And a lot of people will go, well, a lot of people can pick it out sometimes. They're always associating me with like West Texas. And I'm like, we weren't, where I grew up with wasn't really West Texas. And it was kind of more North Texas, but not quite West, but out there by the Red River. And we're very close to like, Oklahoma. So the
Hmm.
Red River wasn't very far from everybody in that general area just kind of sounded, because people from East Texas sound different than people from, not everybody in Texas. It's weird. Everybody kind of has different, depends on the area sometimes.
Well, yeah, it's actually really funny if you study the history of the Southern accent. It's actually an English, like a very Cockney accent, but slowed
Hmm.
way down.
Well, you got to think about, when you think about like all the different immigrants and the different cultures and all the things that ended up, you know, coming here and being down here and mixing together, and it made some very interesting, you know, accents. That's just big. I mean, take Louisiana. You got a lot of
Hmm.
French influence there with your Creole and stuff like that, and
Yeah, I mean
it just kind of
Cajun
depends.
is totally all
Yeah,
its own
yeah,
thing. And also with Texas,
yeah.
I mean, there are so many German immigrants. I mean, especially
Oh
like
yeah. There's out
Grün.
in New Braunfels, it's
Yeah,
green,
exactly. New
and
Braunfels, Grün. Like, exactly.
Fredericksburg.
Yeah, yeah.
Shinerbach.
I mean,
Beer is
isn't
made.
there's a water park called Schlitterbahn for fuck's
Yeah,
sake?
Schlitterbahn. Yep.
Schlitterbahn, lol.
And
Yeah,
that
it
is a
is.
huge water park.
It is.
Now, when I go, the girls, we would rent a house, and we would go float the river. That was the big thing, was we would, just go as a bunch of girls and go float the river all day, and, watch all the, crazy stuff go down. I think that was the best part, was, drinking and stuff all day. But see, we were always like, had our cooler with our food and drinks, and the people would be passing out like Jello shots and on the rivers. I mean, just crazy insane stuff. I mean, we did that like, how many years in a row that we did that. But it was a good time. It really was a good time.
When I
And that
lived
river is
in
cold, 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 cold. That river is
Oh
cold.
yeah, when I lived in San Marcos, did a river float, and it was really really funny because you could see the people who were used to doing it, and they had everything like in plastic
Oh
bags,
yeah,
and
oh yeah.
then
You have
you
your
could
stuff
see
on.
us
Yeah, you got to
fools
have.
who had no idea. We thought we were just going to get right in the tube, and it's not going to flip over and ruin our cigarettes.
Oh yeah, because you had you see, we used to get those things hanging around our necks that are like cigarettes and stuff in that, is the case, and then it closed. So you put your cigarettes and your driver's license, stuff like that, and they would keep it dry. And but a lot of people, I would feel bad because, see, we would get rafts, and we would get like two rafts, and we would split, but we would kind of, stay together or tight, whatever. Because I feel bad for the people who are like just in the tubes and have to, and they're miserable. You'll like float by them, and their lips will be like blue, or they'll be like passed out in the frickin' river, because there's been times that we've been just completely rained on. I mean, some crazy. We've seen some crazy things. But I'm telling you, that's some of the most fun I've ever had. And if you like to people watch, and yeah, it's pretty wild. Hey, somebody had a floating pole. I'm not even lying. A floating pole. And if you got on the pole and did a pole dance, they would give 3 shots. So I did a solid for my friends, and I danced on the pole for the whole river so I could get me and my friends some jello.
You danced on a floating pole in the middle of a river, Deidre. Fantastic, just fantastic.
My friends are like, "Oh, Deidre will do it. She'll get it." Like, I was like, "Yeah, maybe I'll probably never see these people again." Get y'all some jello. We'll get some jello shots. Ain't no problem. Yeah, good time.
Yeah,
Back when I was younger.
I'm like, yeah, tried floating. We weren't professional floaters, and
Yeah,
we
you can hurt yourself too because
well, we just
got all
I
those.
flipped over in the tube trying to get in, and as soon as I did, like it's like cigarettes ruined, phone
Everything.
wet. Like, and then you see people like
Sunglasses.
floating by with like entire coolers wrapped in plastic attached to their tube.
Oh
And you're
yeah.
like, these people have been doing it a lot longer than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about these blighters.
Oh yeah. People sometimes bring their own like kayak, and they're just just kayaking.
Yeah.
But there's
People
a lot of like
People trying to jump off the rocks and bust their ass.
and cliffs and stuff, and we would get used to we'd like, okay, incoming, and we'd hunker down because we've seen, and people will lose a lot of. So there's people waiting there every single time, waiting because people are going to lose jewelry, money, whatever, and they have divers there, and sometimes people are nice enough and will go dive for something for you and bring it back to you. But usually
nice.
people are just but yeah, and a lot of people get hurt there too, because especially if you're in a tube. Because if you're in a raft, you can there's more people, you can a little bit better. But yeah. And it depends on how low or high the river is too.
Completely different subject because they're showing Charles Dickens. Have you ever seen the Christmas movie they made that was based off of how Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Story? Like what inspired him? Because he had to he had to go back and trace ghosts of his pasts, from growing up working in like a boot blacking factory. It's super dark.
I didn't know that was about I always like Charles Dickens and the Christmas Story and stuff like that, but that I never knew like how he came up with that story.
Well, like Oliver Twist was, I'm sure there's a lot of that was very autobiographical. Growing up in Victorian England times. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Could I have some more, please? Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto, Victorian England.
Yeah. I must just like being in the Wild West.
Fantastic. So Deidre, if you could sit down and have a drink with anybody in a chat, with anybody in history, alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is a hard one because I love history. And really good question.
You can take your time.
I'm trying to think because there's just so many people that I find so fascinating and interesting.
I get it. I get it completely.
But for I'm just
You give them the slip. We gave them more than that.
let's see.
Over the years, I have established a number of
I
connections.
would say one of the. There's just so many, and I think I would.
I know. As soon as you think of one, you're like, no, wait. No, wait.
And I'm like, that's not a very good, not a very good thing, why? Because
Well,
just,
you have all of the whole
I'm not-
stream to think about your answer.
And I mean, to be honest, you know how awesome it would be to think about, like, I would think about, I would love to, like,
My ally in the force,
you
Sergeant
know,
I've heard
have
he's
a
on the master of
conversation
disguise.
with, like,
Next up,
Abraham Lincoln.
urgents.
Okay, Lincoln. That'd be an
Because-
interesting one.
I mean, no,
Smart as a whip, that one.
but he,
You would be wise to remember that.
you know,
Starrick never acts alone.
he there was a lot of tragedy in his life, and even, you know, I didn't realize, but his wife was very political, and she pushed him, you know, a lot, and it just how he was, and he had a child die when they were in office, so just how he was able to, and especially what was going on in the country at that time as well, and to be honest, you know, he you know, he wasn't like he had any formal schooling. It was all, you know, he taught himself, and he was very determined, and I know he was a depressed person, and I kind of identify with that, but he's just so there's just so much about him. He's like, you know, he's a complicated kind of a figure, and it's very interesting, and I would love just to sit down and pick his brain. And of course it'd be weird because you know, different times that we live in, but
Well, he had to deal with a
think
lot of things because it was the Civil War era.
yes,
That
I mean,
presidents normally wouldn't have to deal with. Like, for example, you know, I mean, kind of sort of a thing that is overlooked, but it was unfortunately necessary because there was just so much terrorism along the railroads at the times, and that was, for a while, he completely suspended habeas corpus.
yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people
Man,
look at that as a dictator style move, but it's like, you know, when when people are out past a certain amount of time, they're out to no good.
It's war, baby, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, God, like Lincoln's such a complicated figure because, you know, I mean, he was also a lawyer too, and he was also a lawyer for the railroad. So, you know, he made sure that his buddies got a good slice of the pie too. You know, when the railroad contracts were being handed out. There's a lot of things about him. He's just such an interesting and complicated character because there's the good and there's the bad.
Very
You know, I mean, a lot of people hold him up. A lot of people hold him up as a saint, and you know, he did a lot of absolutely amazing things, like the Emancipation Proclamation.
Nobody's completely perfect, and
I completely agree.
They fought like crazy. You know, they bickered.
Well, like I said, he had to deal with.
And Mary Todd Lincoln was very strong in her, you know, like he was very, you know, sometimes, and he just is, you know, so that would be a weird time. Your country's in turmoil, you're split, and
I mean, dealing with a turmoil.
I mean, you can tell like how it just, I mean, how much it aged him.
Oh yeah.
You know, about it, you know. That too, but I just think just because that was such a complicated time, and he was a complicated man, but you know, he still made it through. But unfortunately, you know, whatever, you know, he gets caught. I do think maybe the transition, you know, would have been easier gone better if he wouldn't have gotten shot.
It's super interesting because he avoided one assassination attempt when he was coming to DC on a train by dressing. His Secret Service agents actually had him dressed as an old woman.
Yeah, he had to disguise himself.
Yeah, totally.
He was coming to Washington and stuff, you know, because he would have to disguise himself because people were, you know, giving him death threats and stuff, you know.
Well, you know, I mean, when what he's doing with his, especially the Emancipation Proclamation, is upending an entire economy that was basically dependent upon just free labor and chattel
Yeah, just
slavery,
probably
then
ended that way of life and how it was, and
well, I mean, it's really funny too because if you look at it, I mean, let's go ahead and take, some of the old Southern Gothic writers like Flannery O'Connor, for example, or William Faulkner. They really captured that defeat that the South felt from the Civil War, but yet refused to acknowledge, like consistently gaslit themselves, saying it was the War of Northern
yeah,
Aggression.
they still were. Not like they changed their ways as far as still ended up having being able to have laws to oppress, the, the black people in the South, and so but
So Lincoln's a hell of a
what do you
choice.
do?
Did you watch the Daniel Day-Lewis movie about him?
Um, I don't think I've watched that one yet. I've watched a lot of documentaries and different things about it,
Mm-hmm.
but I need to watch the Daniel Day Lewis
I
version.
recommend definitely doing a little bit of reading prior because a lot of the events that are happening. I mean, there's just a whole lot of like sitting in offices and having conversations because I mean that's really honest to God how war happens.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, I mean, wasn't like
Groups of men and large
like
piles of paper.
exactly. But I mean, yeah, I mean but I mean, he wouldn't be the only person I'd want. I like Jane Austen. I would like to know more about a woman being brave enough to be able to write during that time.
Yeah, Jane Austen is
And
an extremely interesting figure.
because I love, Pride and Prejudice and Sensibility and Emma and
At what age?
you
At what
know,
age, when you discovered Jane Austen, do you find it really, really spoke to you?
and I used to kind of get frustrated, especially in high school when we had to do literature, and it was why did they pick the most? So we never covered like, I don't remember us reading Charlotte Bronte. I mean, or even Jane Austen.
Sylvia Plath.
I don't. But instead we're having to read, like freaking Tale of Two Cities and
Yeah, I mean, the classics are good. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy Dickens and I enjoy Victorian literature, but I think that that you need to have more of an appreciation of how books enable you to turn your mind into a movie before you go jumping into a giant one. Like Moby Dick is a great one to start with when kids are like,
it was because I wasn't into Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I would get frustrated at Shakespeare because I'm like, oh my God, trying to decipher.
Taken most of my money.
It's just whatever. But I'm not, none of those things really spoke to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like Jane Eyre, like I love Jane Eyre. And
I need you to save them.
A small favor.
In return, we offer you
so,
intelligence.
and, but anyway, I think it was what led me to that is because, when I kind of read, I would read a lot of historical romances.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was kind of like my escape, like to read. And
Harlequin novels.
like I started out like when I first started out reading them, like in high school, I started out reading Harlequin, and then when I got older, then I kind of started. There was a certain area that I would like to read, like usually Regency era. England was usually my favorite, timeline to read. So since I enjoyed reading those, that's when I was like, but I'd already always heard about Jane Austen and, this, that, and the other, but just never. So I'm like, well, I really enjoy these books, let me, go and explore, these,
I enjoy. It's like I enjoy the classics, but there are no shirtless pirates, and I'm not down with that.
There's not some good, like describable, some
there's nothing. There's nothing going on in the boom boom room.
and don't get me wrong, it's not like I would want to be a woman living in that time at all, but but still,
it's okay to dream.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's just like, fantasy, whatever. And sometimes there's the history. Because a lot of the history, they say these romance novels are cheesy, but the people that write them do a lot of research and, have other stuff going in that's historical. And so, I would learn things that way too. And of course, I love, like, the Pride and Prejudice movie is, like, my favorite movie of all time. The 2005 version of Keira Knightley, and that's one of my favorite. And the music, the score in that movie is absolutely gorgeous. I love that. Yeah, and I like I like World War II stuff. I was interested in learning about just talk learning more about like Nazis and all the crap because they would never go in depth.
There was so much they didn't teach us in the school, and it was like if you wanted any extra knowledge, you had to visit the library.
You had to go, you had to go like seek it out.
Yeah.
Like, and then of course, and now with YouTube and stuff, it makes it a lot easier because there's a lot of videos, there's a lot of things that talk, so that's really nice too.
Podcasts too, because there's people who have specialty knowledge and when it comes to certain subjects, and they can, especially if they have the ability to be fairly eloquent, they really have the ability to convey new information that has perhaps been hidden under a rock that humans didn't know anything about. Like I would have never known about the fucking weird Sawney Bean clan if it wasn't for the internet.
Isn't it crazy how you just like, I didn't think.
The Sawney Bean clan it was like the Hills Have Eyes, but in Scotland. Like there was it was like this family of incestuous, like cannibalistic murderers who preyed on people along the roadway, and they lived in this area under the cliffs, and they had like when they were discovered by the authorities, they had like a literal like meat packing plant in their well, it wasn't like a plant, you know what I mean, but like a meat packing operation in their cave of human meat. I didn't know about that until the internet.
I know. I mean, gosh, oh my God, I used to be such a growing up. I was just always just always asking questions all the time, all the time. And I know I drive people crazy because I would just, and they're just, and I always want to know why. So it's always, I mean, I know internet sometimes is not for good, but it's so great when, I can go and just, get my answers and find all this, stuff out, that you might not have known everything about, or something new, or, I love it.
Shit. I thought I was going to be able to try to fill
you gotta stay learning. You just can't stay. You just gotta keep.
Well, if you don't learn something new every day, truly, what's the point of living?
Exactly. And I think the more,
even if it's something stupid, I think the more you understand and read, even about other people, other cultures, other things, and you just kind of get a better understanding of the world, and maybe you might think differently about things when you just have an open mind about things. Because I've always was, I think it was my world history teacher that really
I just loved her because it was such a great teacher. And I remember we were studying India and, Hinduism and stuff like that. And she just made it, she was just so, she loved, you could tell she loved, teaching it and talking about it. And, and I just, I learned so much and I was really fascinated, like, about, all these things are sacred and they don't, reincarnation and just, I was just like absolutely fascinating, to learn about, another culture and just, so it kind of, I'm just an open-minded person and I want to know because I know that we're not all the same and I think it's awesome to be able to get to know other people that are not like you.
Well, like teachers truly can be one of our most valuable resources in the fact that they have the ability to convey mass amounts of knowledge to a group of people.
But she traveled, and I think at one point in time she was a ballerina, but but she was the cutest thing ever. And everybody would say, "Oh, her class is so hard," and I just loved it because she really kind of made it easy for you. Because when you came in, she had all of the notes written on the board. You would come in and write everything in your notebook that she had on the board, and you write it down, and then you would like have a discussion for the day. So I mean, if you did that, you would pass.
Right.
But people just don't do it. But she was very animated and she was very passionate, and so that kind of unlocked because she just made it, made it so interesting, and it just wasn't boring,
Hold on one second.
So yeah, I think it matters too if there's a teacher because I had a lot of my history teachers growing up were just coaches and they could have cared less about, like I remember my American history teacher was a coach and it was the most boring. He did the bare minimum. So anyway, I just don't. You have to go and seek that stuff out on your own.
We had some, like I said, we had some pretty good. We had some pretty good teachers.
And I guess that just kind of. I'm sorry, Skip. I just think that's why I get so bummed out is because I don't understand. Is it these people's? Is it lack of education, or is it they just don't want to know?
Well, it's a mixture.
They know, and I'm like, don't you? It's like, dude, that's like basic government.
It's a mixture of willful ignorance and cognitive dissonance because it feels warm and gooey.
Because who in the right mind would it go? Yeah, I want a dictator because. When has America ever been like, yeah, we love dictators. We want to be dictators. That is not, America's all about freedom and crap.
Oh, I get it.
Totally opposite.
But there's some people who just want what they want. And the Constitution's just, they kind of just wrap up their Christo-fascism and constitutional drag.
I'm like, yeah, you think that's what you want? Until it comes for you.
Yeah.
It's just, I think people, I just don't know what you can do. You can't even talk to people about a lot of things.
Yeah, there's just
anymore because they just don't believe anything you try to tell them.
Well, I believe that a lot of it is severely on purpose due to the way that the programming has been fed in certain political factions based off of the idea that it is sort of the same format as a lot of, well, honest to God, Russian programming. And that's not me being a conspiracy theorist. I'm saying watch Russian news programming and it looks just like Fox News.
It's all about money and control. No, but I'm
fear.
Like,
it's all about fear. Fear breeds dollars.
Fear mongering.
Whether it's fear fear in the church that breeds dollars or political fear that breeds dollars, either way, Grifters will always find a way to milk rubes out of their money by pandering to their fear centers.
It's just kind of sick because I'm like, people, y'all know that this is some insane shit, and how can you like look yourself in the mirror every day and spin that shit and be okay with it?
Because they sleep on mattresses of money.
Obviously.
I don't know. In my opinion, you'd have to, you can only take so many Klonopin to go to sleep to gaslight the shame away, but that's just me.
I mean, look at the freaking White House. Apparently all those people couldn't do anything either because they had to be hopped up all the time to work for boy.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you have work for somebody who at any given moment will not only scream at you, but apparently throw food against the wall, but more than likely can put your name one time on Twitter, and all of a sudden, like, not only you, but everybody you love, like, is getting harassing emails.
It's Men in white coats. It came for that man like a long time ago. I was like, it's just wild. It's wild. Absolutely wild.
I don't know. The way I look at it is, like, I hate people that make threats. It's like, if you're going to do something, do it. You're not going to shut the fuck up, you little whiny, like, pseudo wannabe terrorist.
You know what? You take one of those persons one time and do a little bit of even tiny of little
fucking
torture.
Little telephone tough guys.
They it themselves.
That dude looks like he's seen better days.
Yeah. I said shit himself, and it looked like somebody shit in the street right there. Look, see?
I don't know who, but someone put poo in my trousers.
But from what I hear from back then, people did just throw their shit out on the street.
Yeah, there was there was a lot of sanitation problems in Victorian England.
I read somewhere today that somebody, where was it, New Mexico, died of the bubonic plague.
Yeah. The plague was in New Mexico. It's exciting.
I'm like, what the actual fuck?
And I responded to an article that said that. I said, and measles are back in Florida. Thanks, anti-vaxxers.
No, I'm like, the bubonic.
Yeah, the fucking plague. The literal, actual bubonic plague. Thanks, anti-vaxxers. Really appreciate that.
Carried?
Pretty cool.
Plague? Was that the black plague? I'm probably going to have to get my plagues mixed up.
I don't know if... Is there anyone down there?
I'm going to have to Google it.
If there's somebody down there, then I'd be able to get them with this box, and that would be super good.
Is anybody... I can't tell if anybody's even listening to us.
I don't know. I know that it's being saved for the rest of history to listen to.
I'm not doing so far. Honestly.
I think I'm having a blast. I don't know about you.
Okay, because I'm like, God, I hope I'm not boring to hell or talking too dang much or.
Oh no! Don't you worry. We're just right now. I'm just taking a look at this landscape because they made this game look so beautiful.
It is. I love it.
And what's so cool is if you see it, you can climb it.
I see the rooftops and Mary Poppins, one of my favorite movies. I love Mary Poppins. I love Julie Andrews.
Oh yeah. There's
Sound of Music. I want to go before I die.
Weren't we making chimney sweet jokes?
I want to go to Austria. I want to see Salzburg.
Oh, Austria? Yeah, that's
yes.
If you come, you and your husband come visit Tam and I, we're gonna have to see some things.
I want to come to Germany too.
See some things. We live in an extremely beautiful area, and the Alps aren't far away either.
I love historical shit and like when I went to London with Derek and them, they have an office in London. And
was that, sweetheart?
But 2008.
I said if you like historical things, then we should see Schloss Neuschwanstein, which is the most famous German castle.
Castle?
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, please.
I'm sure you've seen pictures of it.
Yeah, you've seen
I went to
pictures
Tower
of it.
London, and I still couldn't even like I didn't have time to read like even all the stuff that was in the Tower of London.
Oh yeah.
And man.
Well, not only does Neuschwanstein have like a ton of crazy history to it worth reading, but it's also the castle that inspired the one at Disney.
So how do you spell it, or how do I look it up, or?
Neuschsch, then WANSTEIN.
That's okay.
Yeah, Neuschwanstein.
Well, I wrote it down because I'll go get pictures, because that's one of my things I want to do. Because I like to go to Ireland too, because I want to go see all
Ireland,
all the castles and stuff there too. But yeah, I hear German. My brother was stationed in Germany during the 80s, and then he when he worked overseas he worked in the Netherlands for a while when he was working in the oil industry. He was working in the Netherlands for a while. So, yeah, he brought me back some really good chocolate. He brought that chocolate I brought back. That was one of the best chocolates I've ever had. And he used to drive over to Germany to get beer, bring it back to where he was.
I get it.
Makes sense.
German beer is amazing, but God, it's so caloric. It's so good, but it's like I said, it's caloric. It's so good, but it's like a fucking sandwich in a glass.
Is it just like more?
It's delicious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just quality good water, quality good yeast, quality good hops, but it's just, carbs, just empty fucking calories. But it's so delicious.
My brother really loved his German beer when he'd get over there.
Yeah, I can gain like 10 pounds on German beer in a week. No problem. No problem.
So I thought, well, he drank other things. Because I'm trying to think, I forgot, how old did he turn over there? Was it his 21st birthday when he was over there? And, dude, I think he ended up in the hospital that night from alcohol poisoning. In Germany, him and his friends. I think he had too good of a time. I love it. All time. Of course, in Germany, what is the drinking age is like? And it's like 16.
Yeah, it's 16. Yeah.
You can sit at the bar stool, pretty much.
Yeah, in Bavaria, maybe.
Well, they serve you like liquor too at 16.
Anything.
Like it's oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. This is what I understand about the States. If you can go to the Army at 18 and all this other stuff, then why can't you be legal to drink and stuff too if you're 18?
Yeah.
Doesn't,
You can buy a gun, but you cannot drink.
Drink, yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's like, it's weird. I'm like,
that makes no sense.
Buy alcohol, but you can go buy AR-15,
Yeah. Double standards.
Yeah, it really is. It almost like, if they didn't ask me, I didn't make the rules.
It's absolutely crazy that just how easily accessible firearms are in America compared to Germany.
Oh yeah.
Like, you have to be part of a gun club.
I mean, like here,
Yeah, the Second
in Texas,
Amendment
you
is
can
like
you can
a whole
open
thing.
carry now. Like you don't even have to have a permit.
Yeah. I mean, they bastardized the Second Amendment all to hell, but I mean, the gun manufacturers like their money.
Yeah, if they, what was the act? That act called where they can't hunt? They can't.
The Brady Bill, like
That's
for
the Brady Bill where
handgun.
they can't get where the gun manufacturers can't be.
Oh no.
That was that. Did it start with an M? Was it?
Yeah, you asked me too quick.
Oh crap!
If anyone in chat knows, I'm sure they'll put it in there.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm like, yeah, get rid of that shit. And I bet you start making the gun manufacturers liable. I bet some of that,
Yeah, it's the only way to actually, make them accountable.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, I respected my brother. He liked to hunt, and stuff like that. But it wasn't like
You don't need a high capacity magazine to hunt a deer.
But it's like, but he always, he had a gun safe, and like my husband, we had, whatever, but it's just kind of gotten, it's just different now. I just feel like the gun culture's gotten worse than people used to be way more sensible, about, when I was growing up, it's like my brother, he got a hunt rifle, but you know what? I never saw it. Like, I never even saw my dad have a gun. I never saw my papa have a gun. They probably did, but I would have found it because I was always going through shit, so I would have probably found it. But, but I'm not saying my papa and them lived out in the country at one point, so I'm sure he probably had some little something when they lived out in the out in the country. But when they moved in here, I never, saw, them have a gun. And if they, if they did, I didn't see it, And if it was, it would be something my brother had some hunting.
Well, like.
And a lot of people have family guns. A lot of people have family guns that
I grew up with them. I hunted. I did all that stuff. My grandfather has a fucking armory in his basement where he makes his own bullets for fun.
I mean, my older brother, rest in peace, used to love, ordering the kits and making the guns himself, and just he enjoyed doing
country stuff.
Just enjoyed doing that. He just enjoyed doing that kind of stuff, and he liked to deer hunt when it's deer season, and dove or whatever, and then sometimes just go to the range or whatever, or just out to the country, and if you wanted to.
Well, especially you being in Texas, like, guns are important because y'all get varmints. And when I say varmints, I mean varmints.
Because our house, when I was growing up, our house backed up to a pasture. So, I mean, a pretty big pasture. So there's mesquite trees. So there, sometimes there'd be like snakes and stuff,
exactly.
Run up in the yard. So
snakes,
there
mice.
My brother would set cans up on the fence that backed up to the pasture, and he would target practice, like with cans or whatever, Of course, like if there was ever a snake or anything like that or whatever, he would usually take care of it, But we were supposed to go back there, but we'd go back there all the time.
Like Texas has such crazy wildlife. Good Lord.
Yeah. And there was like this real neat pond back there, and I used to think, I used to imagine like, oh, this is like my secret spot, and da 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 da. And there was like a barn, You know, when you're little and you have a big imagination, you just think like this is just this, you know, your own little, you know, world.
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I get it completely.
You know, it was just, you know, like, oh, you know, anyway. But, you know, and of course, you know, it's probably the 80s. I was really young, you know. You spent most of your time outside and just entertaining yourself or going on an adventure, stuff like that, riding your bike.
Especially when you grew up in the country, you were country, right?
Pretty much, yeah, because you know it's a small town, but like the city, I mean, the city limits are not very like like when you get out of the city limits, it's country. You know, people have farms, and a lot of people live out there that would go to school in Electra, and you could and the golf courses out there in the country and stuff like that. So yeah, that you could go have, you know, that's where everybody had parties. Cause they're, you know, go out anywhere in the country and find it somewhere and be in a field somewhere or side of some back road or triangle and have somebody would have a bonfire and yeah.
It's those good parties where you wake up in the field.
Yeah, you're like at home. And you're just like you're laying in the ditch on the side of the road.
You still got the clothes on, like, you know, from yesterday, and you're like, oh man, who's going home? I can't drive. I can't drive right now. I'll pick my car up later. I gotta go.
Too much purple passion. that's when at Purple Passion at Everclear.
Oh God, we would do Harry Buffalo parties where you would just take every kind of
like the trash cans.
Yep, exactly. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You just dump everything in there with a bunch of Hawaiian punch.
Yeah, because we had a liquor store on the county line because we were right there on the county line, and so we just found somebody a little older. We knew everybody. Just asked somebody to go buy you, you know, whatever you want. Then when my brother got out of the army, I was still in high school, so I just go ask him to buy me something, and he would. So, you know, it wasn't that hard to get to get liquor, you know.
Fucking Boone's Farm.
When I was growing up there, that's pretty much what everybody was doing. Was really much drinking, but
yeah, I mean that's all there is to do in the country is like drink, find experimental drugs to do, randomly hook up, and if you're really really good and lucky, you might find somebody to play music with if you play music. And more than likely, it's going to be like, I don't know, probably 90% Led Zeppelin covers.
I think she has issues.
Oh, weird. The whole output just shit the bed. Oh, that'll do that.
I pulled it out accidentally.
Oops. There we go. We accidentally pulled the headphones out. I couldn't hear you in those last 3 minutes. Actually, last 30 seconds, actually, roughly.
Oh. So what are we trying? Are we trying to find something?
I am currently about to take on a gang stronghold because I want their territory. And I'm going to do extremely clever, tricky things because I don't want to take on an entire gang at once. I always said that every time he does that, leap of faith and lands in the hay basket. If that was me,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be getting out of the hay basket, but all you'd hear from the hay basket is, ow, ow.
Yeah. Help.
Can somebody get a doctor? I just fell 30 feet.
No, well, I could just turn the wrong way, and I'm like, oh God, what's happening?
I've gotten to an age where sneezing is dangerous.
Yeah, it's really weird.
How in the
You
F
hate
did
it,
that
you
happen?
I don't know. I say it to myself every day, but I
Like,
go to the chiropractor pretty regularly, and that helps. That helps a lot. That's helped me a lot with those. Because I could just sleep wrong and have it like a crick in my neck, and you're just like, oh.
I don't get that. It's like, what? What age did all of a sudden fucking sleeping turn into a dangerous, a dangerous task?
It's true. I'm like, what the hell did I do last night? Because I feel like somebody came in my house and beat the crap out of me in the middle of the night.
I was supposed to be sleeping, but like,
I'm like, who the hell did I fight?
Yeah.
Like,
Did somebody catch that poltergeist that had a pillowcase full of doorknobs?
damn, I must have had one hell of a fight last night in my dream.
Ooh.
I'm sore AF, and I don't know why.
Must be one of the clinkers. Good place to start.
Yeah. See, that's one place that everybody else can't go is up. And if they do decide to come up, I have no problem sending them back down. Come on. Where y'all at?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a huge music fan, so I like to listen to music a lot and stuff. Like all kinds.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
But my passion is like dance. I really like dance music, house music. But I mean, I love all kinds. So that's kind of one of my.
Just electronic music in general.
Kind of, not all of it. Some of it. Some of it's like too.
Yeah, there's some shitty basement trance out there.
Yeah, like some of it's like really, you're just like, oh no, but.
Yeah, like good stuff, like like good God, 90s electronic music was just top.
Oh my God, that was top. Like, listen.
Well, just think like Hackers soundtrack.
Dance music was top notch.
Yeah,
that was the best. That was like one of the best eras for like.
Yeah, the Hackers soundtrack just by itself was a feat in electronic music, and then there was that was so good they did Hackers 2, just music inspired by it. What's up, Derek? Derek's on. He says, "Hey, y'all."
Oh, hey, Derek. Somebody actually came to listen to us.
It's okay.
Anyway.
We're having a good time. All right. Did I already complete the stronghold? I don't think I already did.
We're going to watch him.
I love doing these air assassinations. They truly is what make this game worth it. Pyah! Then it's like, you don't see me.
Yeah,
No, you have no idea. And then you wait for them to get all unawares again, and then you do one of these.
Peekaboo.
Telling you, I don't think I would have made it during times like those.
What, Victorian times?
Oh God, yeah. Think about, they didn't even know what germs were, and they were and stuff.
The clinkers.
Yeah!
But just, I just think I live in like in any time, like medieval or anything, and you're like, ugh.
Pretty much any time prior to like 1985.
You know, like and you're like, everybody probably stank, and you're like, is that something you just get used to, or what's that?
That's one of the reasons they had lace in their sleeves, because they would put tons of perfume on their sleeves that were hanging out, so they could just smell it, instead of like having to smell filth, disease, poverty, and
I'd be gagging and throwing up, and
like I'm just imagining like. You have the ability to time travel for one day, and like you step out of the Bill and Ted fucking phone booth, and as soon as you step out, you're just like,
yeah. Somebody comes to talk to you, and you're like,
everything stinks. Everything.
we like. Because I have no poker face at all. I'd be like, oh, I gotta be able to, excuse me, as I gag it.
Excuse me, where can I purchase some speed stick for the town? Y'all can share, just pass it around.
A bath? One of those?
This is a toothbrush.
Dang it. People are shitting down walls in the castle and shit,
Oh, yeah, I mean, even the castles we went to, I mean, even they actually had, like, a whole, like, where you could actually sit upon because, you were royalty.
And it was way up high, and then it went, with gravity,
Yeah, well, I don't want to know what's on the underneath of that area.
Peasants.
Ugh. Must be some fertile ass ground. That's all I got to say.
What's underneath the poop hole? Peasants.
Man.
Like an outhouse.
Peasants.
Like an outhouse.
I was just thinking of, I have to find it, but there was an article that I read where old boy was running from the cops, and he jumped down an outhouse to try to hide from them, and he got fucking caught.
Oh my.
Can you imagine not only like the humiliation of, oh God, I got caught, but also they're gonna have to pull me out of this. Like this is I'm not coming back from this.
So, my mom's house that, my mother ended up being my mom's. Well, it was her grandparents' house. It was my great-grandparents' house, and her dad grew up in that house. So, that bathroom that was in the house was built on later, and there was an outhouse. They had an outhouse. So, even after they put the bathroom in, there was still an outhouse on the property. So after my great grandfather died, I remember my papa was kind of remodeling the house and kind of updating and doing things, and he pulling up, he wanted to get rid of the outhouse building. I will never forget this. They lifted up that outhouse.
Oh,
nothing but green bottles. So I guess my great grandfather was going out there and hiding and drinking and then stepping the bottles in the hole.
Oh, so that's all they found was just empty booze bottles?
When they lifted, I was there when they lifted it up. There's nothing but like green bottles, like either beer or.
I was expecting like copious amounts of bugs and reptiles, but nope, just booze.
No, because it really hadn't been used as an outhouse like in a pretty long time. But he would just go out there and hide and drink, and so my grandmother, before his wife, my great grandmother passed away. Yeah, I guess he'd go out there and he'd hide it and go out there and drink, and then set it in the hole. Yeah, we found that out when we pulled it up.
Did they just have like bad drinking problems, or where like she was like, "You're not going to drink in this house"?
maybe. I don't think he was. Oh no, he was a really happy, jovial man. He was. I think I was 9 when he passed, um, and he was in a nursing home for a little while. But I think on a road walk, I think she died like a year before I was born because she was a very high strung lady, and she had high blood pressure and she wouldn't take her medicine. And of course, she kind of had I think she had like a stroke or something, killed her. But, um, but I don't think, I mean, I don't think he was like a drunk or anything, but, but even maybe after she died, he might have got lonely and went out there and drank. And cause I know he lived in that house for, I forget for how many years after she passed away.
I get it, but I mean, if you have all that property, why do you need to go hang out in the outhouse? Is just my question.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe he just, he'd drink while he was taking, answering the call of nature. Maybe he's just like, well, it's that time, might as well have my bottle.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, I don't know. And I was just kind of wondering if it was during that period where, he was still alive and maybe she just didn't want him, drinking in the house, whatever, didn't like it. And
if he had a problem.
So he'd go out to the, they already had a bathroom, out of the bathroom, which was a shanty bathroom. So he was like, this is, hey, ain't nobody using this thing. So I'll just go out here. Drink a couple of bottles and just stick them down into the outhouse.
Absolutely.
So, because he was kind of he was kind of funny. He was just very jovial and very good. He was very German, so he's very, but he liked to have a good time. And he played piano by ear. And very hard. He came down from Wisconsin to Texas when he was like 11 or 12 with some man, and he decided to stay because he didn't want to go back. Because they had really bad winters in Wisconsin. They had the dairy. Oh
yeah. Wisconsin winters are rough.
And his brother George had lost, some of his fingers and toes from frostbite. So I remember because some man let him live in his barn. He was on like 12, or maybe 11 or 12 when he came to Texas. And then, he started working, and then he went and got his brother George and brought him to Texas because, didn't want him to lose any more, toes and stuff.
Yeah, there was something about the older generation that.
He was a very hard worker. He moved buildings and,
I'm saying when it came to drinking, that I don't know. It's almost like just the idea that people change. That people change when they drink. Sometimes, like it wasn't like a concept that was like regular with society. It was like. Kind of just sort of deal with it.
Yeah.
So for her to be like, you can't drink in the house, I mean, that's really putting your foot down for those times.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, my papa's the second oldest. There were 8 of them. His older brother died of alcoholism, and he had a sister that also died from alcoholism. And my mother, my mother was sick with lupus and stuff, but what killed her was alcoholism. Killed her.
Yeah, it's
alcohol.
It's really one of the only things where like you can't quit it cold turkey either. Like if you try to quit booze cold turkey and you are a textbook alcoholic, as in your body physically craves it, if you quit it cold turkey, you'll fucking die.
See, that's what was crazy because my mother had major neck surgery in 2018. And she was, she would lie about, she didn't tell people that she was a freaking alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because as far as I knew, because like a 10-hour surgery, and they went through the front and the back of her neck. And so I'm like, she was like in ICU that night. And I'm thinking to myself, I know they're giving her pain medicine, but she drinks every single day. She drinks every single day. And I know she probably didn't tell them that.
And they still...
Because it makes me think that they would have done the surgery if that was the case.
Or at least certainly wouldn't have probably given her the recovery medicine they gave her that might have possibly caused serious side effects.
And I was like, I'm like, no. I think it's rough that her for, you know. But I was like, okay, because she spent a lot of time, because it took a long time until she could swallow without it, anything going into her lungs. She couldn't, eat, but she couldn't, of course, she couldn't get out of, the rehab part of the hospital.
And I thought, like a liquor drunk or a beer drunk, because
liquor,
yeah,
vodka.
Yeah, vodkas.
And Mom drank, just drank to, mask all the pain, physically, mentally, and it just, it just loved my mother very much. And I hated that for her, but also, I stuck it out, but there were a lot of ruined Christmases and things. But I knew, my mother, I just, she was abused by my dad, and as a woman, I understood.
There's so many factors for the older generations.
And I didn't. Yeah, and listen, because my mother was a lovely person when she wasn't, drinking.
Yeah,
and she just was a great. And but it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, I stayed by her side to the very end. And now, I'm making excuses for her, but I never judged her for that, because I knew my mother was in a lot of pain, and I think my mother kind of decided a long time ago that she was just going to take herself out, and that was the way she was going to go.
Yeah, I get it. If, like I said, one of the things that's really crazy is realizing that the older generations, they dealt with and they'd seen things that we really hadn't, and sometimes booze was the only way to forget about that.
Yeah.
His loss.
Yeah. And so yeah. I knew, and then when she couldn't work anymore after her neck surgery, it really got bad, and I knew that she probably wasn't going to last long after that, because she couldn't get up every day and have a purpose, and and she was getting ready to have a hip replacement surgery, a couple of days before she passed away. But that I knew, every time I saw her, this was in August of 2020 is when she passed away. It was like, during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, so she hemorrhaged, God, 3-4 days. She didn't tell anybody that she was hemorrhaging. Like she was telling me, I remember I talked the day before, I was supposed to go, because I was going to go down and stay with her and take care of her after surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And that one day, the day before, she died on a Friday, and we were talking on Thursday. She had told me because my stomach's really been hurting. I'm like, well, Mom, maybe you need to go out to the hospital and, just give her, because Mom never really complained that much. But I'm like, you should go out there and, see about it, and. Yeah, she sat there and suffered. My nephew was there with her, and she laid in bed all day, and I didn't realize it. She knew, because she left the house. She wouldn't get down to the house because she could hardly get around. But that Wednesday, she went out and visited every person in town. She went and visited people where she worked at the pharmacy, and she went out to the gas station where she knew, to all the places that she knew, went and talked to people. She knew.
Yeah, just kind of being like, well, it's
And then, because that March, right around my birthday, it was when we went and got a will. She didn't have a will. And then when she passed away, she had the will. I mean, she had that will exactly how I could see it. And yeah, and my older brother was living with her at the time too, and she was hot. She hid it. I was like, oh, she's high. I was like, how the hell is she hiding bleeding from him? And so yeah, she got up in the middle of the night and thought it was going to get the shower, and she just my brother found her the next morning, shower still running.
oh man. Well,
And yeah, and
I wonder if you I don't know, like you just get the instinct that that
yeah, I knew.
that
And
time
I was
is
so
coming.
mad at myself for not going that day. I was like, I should have gotten a car, because I remember being on the phone and my nephew was there, and he answered her phone, and I said, "Where's Mom?" She's just like, "She's in the bathroom." And so I kind of chatted with him for a while, and she didn't come out of the bathroom. She didn't come out of the bathroom. I said, "Hey, Brennan," I said, "Can you knock on the door and ask if Mom's okay? Nana's okay?" And he did, and she goes, yeah. She's like, "I'm talking about how, like whatever, I was like, but it wouldn't have changed. I don't think it would have really changed anything, but I just felt bad that my brother was the one that,
Yeah, I'm so curious
and
when that time actually comes in your life, if like I don't know if you have this sentient idea that here it is, I mean, because I mean, obviously some people, they meet with quick and tragic circumstances, and some folks know it's coming, and I'm just curious, like, oh man,
yeah, it was. She didn't say shit. She didn't say nothing except that my stomach hurt, and I told her, "Mother, please go see about it."
my stomach hurts.
She knew.
Yeah, it's
She knew if I knew, I would have had an ambulance there immediately. And she did not want me to do. She knew. She knew. She didn't tell me. No, she didn't want, because that's not what she wanted. She, and then in October, my older brother passed away. He had a heart attack. Just had a major heart attack. Gone. 53. And then that was October, and then a month to the day in November, then my dad died from COVID in the nursing home. So yeah, I lost my mom, my brother, and my dad within all in like 3 months.
all to COVID too, man. Like there's so many.
My mom wasn't COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for sure if my brother was COVID. They didn't get an autopsy. He just had a major heart attack, but he wasn't wearing a mask. And this is before any kind of vaccination or anything, because it was late 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad for sure died of COVID, because he was in a nursing home, and I had to listen to him die from COVID. It was awful. And then I had an aunt that died just about probably closer to a year after that from COVID, because she got real sick, and then she just never got better. And because she had they all had because my mom's sister, they all had like RA and like autoimmune. So when you have an autoimmune, it's really hard. And she was in and out of the hospital, for a few, I forget how many months. She got sick in October, and then she was dead by February. So, yeah.
Welcome to the Rooks.
It was
COVID.
there was just
And I had
such
other
an
people that
unexpected
passed
time
away during
for
that time
everybody.
too. I was just like, so it's been hard, because it's like it's almost like I have PTSD. I'm like, when somebody calls, I get real panicky because I'm like, oh my God, who's sick or who's,
Yeah. Like, I rarely, and I mean rarely, talk to my family. So anytime that I get contacted by them, because I know it's going to be that time real soon with my grandparents or whatever. Let's see here. Vixen on Blue says hello. How's it going?
Oh, hey.
Thanks for swinging
I like
by.
her.
She's new to the Tony Michaels server.
Oh, yeah. I saw,
Excellent idea.
Yes, it all worked out.
is it a he? I'm not sure if it's a he or she. But
I believe
I saw them
that
earlier.
I believe that she is a veteran as well.
I'm not doing anything until this gets
Oh.
fixed.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your service.
I believe I know someone who can help with that.
Amazing. Thank you.
I knew you would, Greenie.
So, yeah, I mean, so, that was, I didn't think I was ever, that was the hardest thing. When you lose people that close together, you trying to grieve 3 people,
Yeah, just back to back to back to back.
and oh God, yeah, like I didn't think I was ever, you're never going to be the same. But I was like, I didn't think I was ever going to stop crying, or just, and I guess because it was COVID too, it's like all that stuff is just like a blur. It was like I just missed a total year.
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't have anybody close to me pass from COVID, but my entire career just went up in flames. So, I was fortunate that I didn't have to deal with that. But at the same time, everything that I'd been working on for like the last 10 years, like all of the upward mobility, all the tours, everything that I'd been going on and working on is just all of a sudden is just all for naught. And then when COVID finally,
Because if you're a musician and stuff, I mean, nobody could play gigs or anything.
Oh, I had my new record came out, and I had tours planned, and there were some festivals that I was going to be playing in Europe, and I was going to be going to Australia and a couple other things. But actually, this is the thing, is that all happened, but because that all happened, I met my wife. So, I don't know. I personally,
you cut it out. Cut out.
I said, I cut out. Hold on. I said because all that happened, I met my wife, and
see,
I would much rather have found her than being in a van for sometimes 6 hours a day minimum, and all the other things that entail, consistently
sometimes
working.
People work in mysterious ways.
Well, I mean, you can chase the upward mobility of a career, you know what I mean, and sacrifice everything that's important. Or you can be, like, okay, well, finally, life is where I've always wanted it to be, and I mean. The thing about the music industry is whether you're playing in front of 10 people or 10,000 people for your gig, at the end of the day, it's a box of chocolates, because it's the gear's going to go back in the van, and you're going to go back to the hotel room, and you're going to wake up and do it again. And don't get me wrong, I mean, that sort of nomadic lifestyle is really, really cool if that's what you got going on. You know what I mean? But
it can be, but I'm sure after a while you're just like,
Well, there's something about your bed.
Oh yeah.
Because I have stayed in some fucked up rooms, man.
You could ask my husband, like, when we go somewhere, like we're staying over, I'll take my pillow. I'll take my own pillow.
Oh yeah.
I'll take my own pillow. All right.
Yep. Gotta.
So, You'll laugh at me, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm taking my pillow.
Well, there's so many hotel pillows that just suck. Oh my God, they're so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, thanks for swinging by, Vixen. You have a great night.
Now again.
We got about 15 minutes left on this stream.
Yeah, I didn't know how long usually.
Well, it's Tam's got a rather early morning.
Yeah, I didn't know how long y'all usually stream. They've been on here for what? Couple hours, almost 2 hours.
Yeah, we wanted to do a couple hour stream, so enough to be able to talk some shit and actually play
I've
some
enjoyed
games.
it. I really appreciate y'all.
We really
having me, and
appreciate it. Hell.
I hope I was interesting enough.
Sadly, you've had to deal with a lot of tragedy fairly recently and in copious amounts. So, I can completely understand what it's like just to get it the fuck off really your chest.
Yeah, and this has kind of been good for me to be able to do this because, it's there for a while. I just want to do anything. But this, and plus, with having, I have Dalen and I've got to do my thing with that. But it's still nice to have somewhere like the community that, we're in to be able to chat and do these kind of things. And it's just nice because I don't always get to talk to people sometimes,
Well, or you get a chance to talk to them and they're just not worth talking to.
Yeah. That, or they don't want to talk about some of the same things you want to talk about, or, that kind of. So.
Just the ability to shut the fuck up and listen.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be about politics or anything. It's just, talking about life. Just talk about life, I mean.
It's your stream.
Sure. But I'm not trying to get all depressing or anything like that. But, it's just, but it has been good. It's been good for me to,
Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, good company is hard to find in the same way good help is hard to find at a job.
It is. So, it's like
the entire
really nice.
Tony Michaels podcast server has just become a real home away from home virtually because,
Yeah, I've met a really nice, lovely people.
There's just something about like-minded individuals being able to commiserate over the same thing.
Yeah, and everybody's cool, and I don't care if they fuck, and
everybody likes to party, and I mean,
and I'm not easily. I'm shit.
Obviously,
I'm not offended very easily either. So.
Yeah, like I said, obviously, we have our political leanings that we all have in common as well. So that's really nice. But also to be able to interact with people who understand reality, it's really nice.
Yeah, because sadly we're lacking in a lot of people that are not in touch with reality at all, and it's really scary.
Yeah, not on a first name basis with it whatsoever.
Time to be in,
Burnt. Man, this definitely looks like some damn English weather.
Yeah, it does. And if it's like that all the time, wouldn't you just be depressed all the time?
Oh, I mean, when we were in England, I think we got like one sunny day, baby. 2?
I was there for a week, and I don't think it mattered. remember. Maybe it rained once.
Scotland
Maybe
is
so, I
extremely
don't know,
great
but-
too. I've seen it rain while the sunshine was out in Scotland.
That happens here. Like when the rain, of course, the saying is that if the sun's shining while it's raining, it means that the devil's beating his wife. Don't ask me.
That's one of those weird ass bootleg hillbilly
Yes.
sayings my family would say.
Yes.
Like
I'll never forget the first time I was like, what the heck?
what is up with that fucking ridiculous hillbilly wisdom? I'll never get it. Like, I actually, I sort of,
Dude,
one of the things
my
that
mother
led me.
was so
Go ahead.
superstitious about freaking like black cats. Listen, I have been in the car with my mother in a black cat has crossed the road, and she has literally stopped the car and put it in reverse, backed it up, and gone a whole other way. But if she was in a hurry, and if a black cat crossed her path, she would roll down the window and spit out the window.
Yeah, my mom would like lick her finger and start drawing on the windshield. Like, what the fuck was up with that weird bootleg hillbilly mess, dude? Like, that shit, like, one of the reasons that led to me getting disowned and kicked out of my parents' house that my grandmother owned when I was a younger lad was I made fun of their fucking stupid bootleg hillbilly tricks. And I was like, you know, if you skin a cat and you hang it upside down and you put your thumb in your butt and jump up and down 3 times, your turlet will unclog. And I just told her, I was like, I am sick of this family making me dumber every time I listen to them talk.
It wasn't too much of that stuff, but it was just certain
Jesus. Like, you don't leave your kid out in the lawn, he'll get crossed by a snake. What the fuck does that even mean?
I don't even know.
I'm just glad to know that I'm not the only one whose family did that crazy bullshit.
That black
apparently, Derek saying yes. Apparently, he agrees. I don't know if he was part of if he was privy to any of these bootleg hillbilly tricks, but
dude, I'm telling you, oh Lord, it's a big like. Like my mother took steak or something. She's like, I hope.
Like somebody told them this is correct.
And my daughter laughed. When I ever say that, God, I hope it ain't tough as a boot.
Like somebody told them that this is correct. Like, yeah, this is proper knowledge. Like, feel free to pass this down for generations. Like,
yeah.
Jesus.
There's just things that I guess people will say, and it just kind of gets passed down.
I don't know.
In a way, or just kind of the area that you live in, and some of the people kind of have some of the
I suppose just like
kind of say sayings.
Like colloquial sayings.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
I can't think of the last time I had to use the word
make
colloquial.
me laugh. Like some of the stuff that my granddad used to try to describe, somebody that lived he goes, outfit that lives over there on Glisten, wife, his wife had big hands, her, both, my grandmother.
You're not giving me any sort of adjective to go off of here. The one with the shoes. God damn it, this is not helpful.
Yeah. And my mom would be like, you're talking about? And I'm like,
this is not helpful in the slightest.
That lady that's super glued, her husband is sick to her leg, her.
You're like,
Because that's a true story. Because the lady
she's
actually
super.
did super glue.
Well, that's a great
Her
way to
husband's
end.
dick.
That is a wonderful note to end the stream on.
He had to have a skin graft.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he sure did.
God! That'll. There's this movie
We
called.
talked about that for a long.
There's this movie called Honey Dripper, and it's an old blues movie. I think Danny Glover's in it, and there's this part where he said that this gentleman was in a relationship with, he'd been unfaithful to her, and she cooked him a bunch of grits for supper, and he was all happy, and he went to sleep thinking that he was going to be A-okay. And so when he was asleep, she dumped that entire pan of grits in his lap.
Oh.
Crazy stuff. Great movie. Yeah, I agree.
Did you ever see The Color Purple?
Yeah, I've seen.
Danny Glover was not a good person.
Yeah, Danny Glover. It's funny though because you see when he's running after Seal, he's still got them Danny Glover knees. How do they put him in Lethal Weapon with them Danny Glover knees? That's what I want to know.
I know. And I just watched that the other day. It doesn't matter how many times I've seen that movie. That movie. Oh God.
Oh yeah, the ending is like
right there.
I can't help it. The waterworks come on. Every time.
I mean that was Whoopi Goldberg's first movie.
Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg and
movie.
Oprah just fucking nailed it.
And yeah, I mean it was just well done. And and Steven Spielberg had never really directed, because he thought somebody of that community should, and they they got snubbed at Oscars that year, and that movie should have been nominated, and people should have been nominated.
Well, as we all know, Steven Spielberg made his mark, and he still continues to this day.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, legend.
Deidre, darling, this has been an absolute blast.
Oh well, thank you, and I really appreciate you having me on. And
I'm glad you got to tell me a little bit about some of the things that you experienced that you haven't really got a chance to chat with somebody about. So I'm glad we were here.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, so just kind of get to know people a little bit, and
absolutely. Well,
just kind of talk, 'cause that there's other people out there that kind of like me. They lost people, and it was a real thing, and a lot of people out there that
Well, I think that
people it gets better, and it's good to have people and friends and people that you can hang and to help.
Yeah, I think that Tony has created a good community for all of us miscreants.
Yes.
Anything?
He definitely has.
Anything that you want to say before we sign off, Ms. Deidre?
Well, you know what? Just say everybody just love everybody. Just love each other. Just love each other and all that good stuff.
Alrighty.
All the love and hugs. And thanks you guys so much for having me on. You guys are the sweetest. And I promise I'll send a new box of goodies soon.
It was great to listen to you and Skip talk. I didn't say much, but I listened to everything. It was very entertaining.
I hope I didn't bore you.
No,
No,
she's sorting cards.
I'm just listening.
I could I mean, I have a lot of interesting stories about kind of where I grew up. So maybe someday I'll.
We'll have to do this again.
Stories. Yeah, because it's very interesting. It's a lot of cool stories and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that kind of thing,
absolutely. Well,
but anyway, no, it was so much fun. I had such a great time, and just thank you for making me feel comfortable and all that good.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we are family. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's how that goes.
Family.
Let's see who we're going to rate out to. Let's see here. We are going to rate out to...
Well, I'm sure I'm getting sleepy myself. I bet it's really late where you guys are.
I can't raid to Hal because he doesn't allow raids. However, I'm going to raid you out to this dude who down in South America makes really great like power metal style music, like Lord of the Rings style metal.
Cool.
And that'll be rating out in about 75 seconds. So,
cool. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Deidre. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for tuning in to Another Fucking Thing Live. Later, skaters.
Bye.
Go to skipfranzjr.net for podcasts.
Record player that I could just spin records all the time.
Run into the bathroom and I'm covered in blood. Like I had put my tooth through my bottom lip.
For music. For gaming and pro-liberty game rants. That's skipfranzjr.net.